Deep in the interior of Mato Grosso do Sul, the landscape is beginning to take on a new scale. Where once the horizon was dominated by red soil, plantations, rural roads, and large areas of eucalyptus, an industrial structure is beginning to emerge, capable of reshaping the world map of pulp production. Machines operate at the construction site, trucks cross the area, and teams spread out over various work fronts. And a small town called Inocência is receiving one of the largest industrial investments in Brazil's recent history. We're talking about the Sucuriú project by Grosso, a pulp mill built practically from scratch, with investments of $4.6 billion equivalent to about 23.3 billion reais. When completed, the plant will produce 3.5 million tons of pulp annually, becoming the world's largest single-line pulp mill. But how did a small Brazilian town host such a massive project? Stay with us for the next few minutes and find out how the Sucuriú project could transform Inocência, Mato Grosso do Sul, and the global pulp industry. The Sucuriú project is under construction in the municipality of Inocência, in the eastern part of Mato Grosso do Sul. More precisely, the city is about 50 kilometers from downtown, near the Sucuriú River. This location, by the way, is not random. The region is part of what's called the Cellulose Valley, an area that has become one of the main global hubs for the forest-based industry. There, the availability of land, a climate favorable to eucalyptus, logistical advances, and major industrial investments are starting to form a new productive frontier. The industrial plant will occupy an area of approximately 3,000 to 3,500 hectares. To visualize this scale, that's 30 to 35 square kilometers. The area equals nearly 4,000 to 5,000 soccer fields. But the factory is just one part of the system. The project also depends on a forest estate of approximately 400,000 hectares of eucalyptus, which is equivalent to 4,000 square kilometers. It's an area larger than many entire Brazilian municipalities, and this reveals an important dimension. Sucuriú is not just a factory. It's a territorial platform for production, energy, logistics, and export. But why did Mato Grosso do Sul become the chosen place for a project of this magnitude?
Fuji.
The answer from Bloco Interior lies in the transformation of Mato Grosso do Sul into a cellulose powerhouse. Over the past few years, the state has gone from being just an agricultural frontier to competing for space among the major global hubs of the forestry industry. The expansion of eucalyptus plantations, the arrival of major international groups, and the development of logistical corridors have created the conditions for increasingly larger projects. The pulp sector operates with very specific logistics. It's not enough to just build a factory. It's necessary to secure raw materials on a gigantic scale, inbound logistics for the wood, industrial infrastructure, energy, water, rail transport, and port connections for export. That's why projects like Sucuriú are born, where several factors come together at the same time. Mato Grosso do Sul offers a climate favorable to eucalyptus, rapid growth of planted forests, available land, an expanding industrial environment, and a public strategy focused on attracting large investments. In this context, Aracaju decided to build its first pulp mill in Brazil, right in Inocência. The project also marks the largest investment in the company's history, but turning this plan into reality requires much more than just planting and harvesting trees. It requires building a gigantic industrial machine capable of processing wood, generating energy, recovering chemicals, operating automatically, and shipping millions of tons of production per year. And that's where engineering takes center stage.
Yeah.
The construction work for the Sucuriú project is already advancing in Inocência, with earth-moving teams, land preparation, supplier mobilization, and structuring of the industrial site. The announced forecast for the start of operations is by the end of 2027. although projects of this size can always undergo schedule adjustments during execution. At the peak of construction, the expectation is to generate more than 14,000 jobs. After the plant starts operating, about 6,000 jobs are expected to be involved in the industrial, forestry, and logistics areas. In other words, construction doesn't just move concrete, steel, and machines. It also reorganizes an entire city around a new economy. Technically, the Sucuriú project is a greenfield plant. This means that the factory is being built practically from scratch in a new industrial area with all systems planned in an integrated way from the very beginning. It's different from expanding an existing facility. Here, the idea is to create a complete complex: wood receiving, chip preparation, cooking, bleaching, drying, baling, chemical recovery, energy generation, water treatment, effluent treatment, automation, maintenance, and shipping logistics. The big difference lies in the scale of the production line. The facility was designed to produce 3.5 million tons of pulp per year in a single step. This means almost 9,600 tons per day, or approximately 400 tons per hour, if the annual production were distributed continuously. It's a scale that requires extremely robust industrial processes. The eucalyptus wood arrives at the factory and goes through peeling, drying, and preparation stages. Then, the wood chips go through the cooking process, where lignin, the substance that binds the wood fibers together, is separated from the cellulose through controlled chemical processes. From there, the pulp goes through washing, cleaning, bleaching, and drying. But a modern pulp mill is not just a fiber production line. It operates as an industrial ecosystem. One of the hearts of this system is the chemical recovery boiler. This structure reuses components from the production process, recovers chemicals used in wood cooking, and generates thermal and electric energy for the operation. In the case of Sucuriú, Valmet is one of the main technology suppliers for the project. The scope involves process areas, gasification to generate biofuel for the lime kilns, a chemical recovery boiler, and a biomass boiler. The project is expected to generate more than 400 megawatts, with about 200 megawatts intended for the unit's internal consumption. The surplus will be sent to the national electric system in a volume sufficient to supply a large city. Another decisive element is automation. The factory will be operated with Industry 4.0 technology digital controls, connectivity between production stages, and indicators for operational training. This allows monitoring from the wood processing to the quality control of the pulp. But the engineering will not end inside the plant. For a factory of this scale to operate, logistics need to be considered as part of the project. The wood needs to arrive steadily. The cellulose needs to leave in large volumes. This requires highways, railways, terminals, yards, warehouses, and a port. And that's why the project includes a 54-kilometer railway connection. A short line connecting the factory to the railway network operated by Rumo. The idea is to connect the production to the national railway system and then to the port of Santos. In addition, there are plans for investment in port infrastructure for pulp export because the factory doesn't end at the industry's gate. Actually, it ends on the ship. For all these reasons, the Sucuriú project is an industrial undertaking connected to an entire chain: forest, factory, energy, railway, port, and international market. If the engineering of the Sucuriú project is impressive, the scale is just as remarkable. Absolutely. The investment of $4.6 billion is equivalent to about 23.3 billion Rs at the exchange rate at the time this video was made. With that amount, it would be possible to buy approximately 310,000 brand new economy cars, each costing 75,000 Rs. It would also be enough to build around 23 kilometers of underground subway in highly complex urban projects, considering an approximate reference of 1 billion Rs per kilometer. But the impressive numbers don't stop there. The production capacity also stands out. With 3.5 million tons per year, Sucuriú surpasses the new Suzano factory in Ribas do Rio Pardo. Also in Mato Grosso do Sul, designed for a single line of about 2.55 million tons per year. This means a difference of approximately 37% more capacity. In practice, it's like adding almost a new large-scale factory within the production line itself. The industrial area of 3,500 hectares is equivalent to about 35 square kilometers, something comparable to almost 4,500. 900 soccer fields, while the forest base of 400,000 hectares is equivalent to 4,000 square kilometers, approximately 2.6 times the area of the municipality of Sao Paulo. The short railway line of 50 to 54 kilometers also helps to visualize the logistical scale. It's almost like building a railway connection between Sao Paulo and Jundiaí just to integrate a factory into the national outflow system. And there's still something we can't forget, the energy aspect. A generation of over 400 megawatts puts the unit on a scale comparable to a significant power plant. It's estimated that half of this energy is used by the factory itself. The rest can supply the electrical system with enough volume to serve a city with hundreds of thousands of inhabitants. That's why Sucuriú shouldn't be seen as just another factory. It is an industrial infrastructure on a territorial scale. If completed as planned, the Sucuriú project could profoundly transform Inocência and reinforce Mato Grosso do Sul as one of the global centers of pulp production. Some indicators help to understand the impact. According to information related to the project's international funding, packages supported by IFC, IDB Invest, Finvera, and private banks, they reached $2.2 billion or 11.2 billion reais, according to the exchange rate of the U.S. currency. At the time this video was made. Of this total, there is a loan of $1.25 billion, co-led by IFC and IDB Invest, in addition to $970 million in financing guaranteed by Finvera. Another important fact is the energy. We know that the factory should produce about 400 megawatts of renewable energy based on biomass, and approximately 45 of that amount can be supplied to the Brazilian electric system. This reinforces the idea of an industry that not only consumes energy, but also contributes to the national energy matrix. From an economic point of view, the forecast of 14,000 temporary jobs during construction and 6,000 permanent jobs in industrial, forestry, and logistics operations indicates a significant impact on income, professional qualification, tax collection, and regional services. But there is an essential point. A project of this size also puts pressure on housing, sanitation, health, transportation, security, and the environment. In summary, the success of Sucuriú will not be measured only by the amount of pulp produced. It will be measured by the ability to turn industrial growth into regional development. In Inocência, Mato Grosso do Sul, Brazil is building something bigger than a pulp plant. It is building a precious piece on the global forestry industry board. And when a small town starts moving millions of tons per year, it stops being just a dot on the map. It transforms into a power infrastructure. Thank you for watching this video until now. Did you know about this huge pulp factory, the largest in the world, built here in Brazil in Mato Grosso do Sul, specifically in Inocência? Leave your opinion in the comments whether you already knew about it or not. Also, what do you think about this project? That's it for now. Take care. And see you in the next video. Subscribe,